Dear students, welcome back to the video lecture of instrumental methods of analysis. Let us discuss now the new concept is flame photometry. So my content of presentation it follows as like introduction first, applications, instrumentation, experiment, advantages and limitations. So first one begin with introduction. Flame photometry is the measurement of intensity of the light emitted when a metal is introduced into a flame. The second one is the wavelength of the color tells us what element is present, and the color intensity gives the concentration of that element present in the sample. Third important point about the flame photometry is also named as flame emission spectroscopy because of what? Using the flame to provide the energy for the excitation of atoms introduced into the flame. And flame photometry is used for the determination of the elements like sodium, potassium, lithium, calcium, magnesium, strontium and beryllium. And this method is also useful for the measurement of the elements in medicine, agriculture as well as in plant science fields. And this method is also successful for the determining the transition elements like copper, iron, manganese, etc. And this method, flame photometry, is very simple, rapid method for the routine determination of elements that can be easily excited. Let us discuss now about some important applications of flame photometric method are as follows. The first one is for to determine the availability of alkali and alkaline earth metals which are critical for soil cultivation. Second application in agriculture and the fertilizer requirement of the soil is analyzed by the flame test analysis of the soil. Whether the soil contains the desirable elements or not is done by the flame photometric analysis. And in a clinical field, I am into say in a health concern in the hospitals for the analysis of sodium and potassium present in the body fluids or muscles and heart that can be determined by diluting the blood serum and aspiration into the flame. Then fourth important application, it is used for the analysis of soft drinks, fruit juices, alcoholic beverages that can be also determined by using the flame photometric technique. Now let us discuss about the instrumentation part of flame photometric method. I have shown two different diagrams for the representation of flame photometric technique. It has the four important components. Let us discuss now one by one. As the name of the instrument is called flame photometry, therefore the flame is one of the part that plays an important role for the analysis flame. Then second part is, this is what you can say the nebulizer, this part nebulizer, so which is the system used for to suck the liquid or the solution which is under the test. This portion is called the nebulizer. And then you have the third component is the filter. This is what I can say the filter that is used for to allow the particular wavelength of light radiation which are transmitted from the flame. Then fourth important component is that is called the photodetector, or you can say photodiodes, which has the anode and cathode, where it signifies the light intensity into electrical signals. So this is about the some important parts which are identified by the support of diagram. Now let us discuss about the components what I explained in the diagram to brief out them in simple sentences. As I told, the first one is flame. So a burner that is used for to provide the flame that can be maintained constant form and constant temperature. Second important component what I said, nebulizer and mixing chamber, which helps the transport of homogeneous solution of the substance into the flame by steady rate. Then third one, we are using the monochromator or filter, which helps the isolating the wavelength to be measured from the other extraneous emissions which are not required for the analysis. Then fourth component is what? Photodetector, which is used to detect the light and convert that light intensity in the form of electrical signal, which is the help of photodetector. So this produces electrical signals which is directly proportional to the intensity of the light. Now let us begin about the principle of flame photometric method. So flame photometry is the branch of atomic spectroscopy is used for the determining the concentration of the metal ions like sodium, potassium, lithium, calcium, cesium, etc. This is what I said about the first point. Second principle, the subsequent loss of energy will result in the movement of excited atoms, the low energy ground state, with the emission of some radiations as in the form of the wavelengths. The emitted wavelengths are specific for the specific elements. Let us discuss about how the sample solution is provided. As you know that you take the ionic solution, take an example of sodium chloride, and it is aspirated with the help of nozzle, spraying that liquid in the form of nozzle. It forms the aerosol, and which is on hold passing into the flame gets vaporized to form the what? The residue because of flame energy gets to form the gaseous atoms. So these gaseous atom molecule, this is what it forms the molecule. That molecule dissociate to form the atoms. So this atom is present in the ground state by taking the energy from the flame. So from that atoms moves from ground state to the excited state. When it reaches the excited state, no any element or atoms are in stable form. They have to come to the ground state by releasing or by emitting excess of energy. That is what you can say emission of light intensity with the help of flame energy. Let us discuss about the same explanation what I explained in the form of a flow chart. Discuss with the chemical process. You have taken the salt of M plus X minus. For example, you can take sodium chloride Na plus and Cl minus solution. So this is when it is subjected for the flame energy. It forms the mist. Mist means semi-solid. Then decomposes that water content forms the solid. And in solid state it converts to the gaseous state of this salt, which is on decomposition it forms M gas and X gas. And this M atom, it gets the heat energy from the flame, undergoes thermal excitation by emitting the excess of energy when the atoms are returning to the ground state. This is what about the skeleton reaction for the flame photometric analysis. Now let us begin with the principle. The solution containing metal to be measured is first aspirated into the burner. It means that liquid is converted in the form of mist to the gaseous residue to the gaseous molecule, then gaseous molecule to the dissociation to lead atomic in the form of atoms in the form of gaseous state. Then second point is the solvent then evaporated, leaving behind the fine divided solid particles. These solid particles moves towards the flame where the gaseous atoms and ions are produced. So these atoms and ions absorbs the energy by the flame and undergoes excited to the higher energy level. When the atoms and ions are they are in the high energy level, they have to return back to the ground state with the emission of the characteristic wavelength of the light radiation that corresponds to the nature of the elements present. That color tells the color of the element tells what element is present, and its intensity what is emitted. It gives the information about the concentration of the element. So here what you can see, I have explained here name of the element, emitted wavelength and color of the flame. If the element is potassium, it is emitted at 766 nanometer and the observed color to the flame is what? It is violet in color. Then comes to the second one, that is lithium. So when it is emitted by the flame energy, it emits at 670 nanometer and emitted light intensity corresponds to that color tends to what element and the intensity gives the how much is the concentration, that is what it is in the red color. Then next element I will take calcium. It is gets excited, so its wavelength is 622 nanometer and when it is excited by the flame, the color of the flame becomes what? It is orange red color or orange color. Then come to the sodium, which is present in the common salt. So that sodium gets emitted at 589 nanometer and the color of the flame is what? It looks to be, that is yellow in color. Then come to the last one more element, barium. That is what emitted wavelength is what? 554 nanometer. Then the color to the flame is what? It is what? The lime green or can say apple green color for the flame. So now in our next video lecture we will come to know the estimation of amount of sodium and potassium present in the sample of solution by using flame photometric method. Thank you one and all.